Welcome to my brand new YouTube trading channel. So in this video, I will be breaking down longs that I took on AUD CHF. So I'm primarily a Forex swing trader. I do trade occasionally S&P 500 and gold, very rarely. But in today's breakdown, I did take positions. I did go long on AUD CHF. So I'll be breaking down on why I took the entry, why I took that position, and so on. Right. So a little bit about myself. I am a forex trader, like I said. I've been trading for roughly 2 years. It will be 2 years coming this April. And the reason I decided to start making this YouTube channel was number one, to document my journey, document my growth. I know that when I reach the level that I truly destined to be at, and I know I will get at, it's going to be good looking back at these videos and looking back at my growth. So that's primarily why I do want to start my YouTube channel. And then second of it being is because I want to, educate a little bit of people. I'm still not fully where I want to be, like I said, but if I can share value on my journey to my destination, to my end goal, why not, right? I'm all about helping the people as well. So let's go ahead and get into the charts and start with the breakdown. Okay, so now that we are on the charts, you guys are seeing what I'm seeing, of course. So I always start my analysis with top-down analysis. So starting with the weekly, I mostly use the weekly and the daily for direction, primarily the daily and the 4 hour as well. But the 4 hour time frame is more of a time frame where I like to look at structure and find my area of interest as well with the daily. So starting with the weekly. So what I was looking at the weekly at the time of me taking the trade, it looked something around like this. These are my confluences. Let me get that out of there. So clearly what I was seeing on the weekly was, so I typically look at the previous weekly candlesticks to see what they were doing and the direction they were heading. So clearly we are on a complete uptrend to the upside with huge momentum. If you see the size of these candlesticks, there's a lot of buyers present around this area. So after I saw that on the weekly, I went to the daily time frame where I also saw price creating higher highs, higher lows, higher highs, higher lows, higher highs, higher lows, higher highs, where I was anticipating the next higher low to continue from here, the push to the upside. So let me erase all this noise from the chart. So after I saw that, I was like, okay, I will be looking for longs. So the next step for me was finding my area of interest. So like I said in the beginning, I typically find my area of interest on the daily and on the 4 hours. So on the daily, we had no clear area of interest, as you can see. So I do trade support and resistance. That's what I trade, right? So I couldn't find an area of interest on the daily. So it's where I went down to the 4 hour where, like I said, I like to find my area of interest on the daily and on the 4 hour. So now that we're on the 4 hour, I see two things, right? One, my area of interest, which we have a clear area of resistance, support, and anticipating support here to continue going to the upside. As well with, you can see on the 4 hour, it's a lot cleaner, right? Market structure is a lot cleaner. You're able to identify what price action is doing more clean. So once I found my area of interest, I started looking at what the 4 hour and what the daily time frames were doing. Patience pays, guys. Since I am a swing trader, I typically, like I said, look at the daily and on the 4 hour. I don't look at on the lower time frames till I have rejections on the higher time frames. So the first thing I noticed was that we were reaching this area of interest and we started having rejections. So you can see we have a clear rejection right here. This candlestick right here was rejecting this area, as well with a doji rejection candlestick, a bullish doji candlestick rejection. So next, I continue to stay patient. I wanted the higher time frame for me, the daily, to reject the zone for a higher probability trade setup. So it's where I stayed patient and I waited to see what price did the next couple of days, right? So I waited for the next daily candle to happen. So if I move forward, there we go. This is the next daily candlestick. So So once I saw that the candlestick closed as a daily bullish doji, I was like, okay, it's clearly rejecting this area. As well with the 4 hour, having all these wick rejections, and then completely having this bullish engulfing candlestick rejecting from the zone. So now it's where I went to the lower time frames. So I went to the lower time frames like the 1 hour, the 30 hour, where I started looking for a shift to structure. So price was clearly creating a lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low. So we were clearly on a downtrend. Why were we on a downtrend? Because it had to reach that area of interest to then continue having the push to the upside. So let me go ahead and delete all this noise as well so the charts look a lot cleaner. Next, what I was looking for was a shift of structure, letting me know that, hey, price is starting to reverse. Price is starting to go in the direction that I'm anticipating price to going. So where was the shift of structure? For me, I wanted a very clean shift of structure. So for me, the shift of structure was above this structure point right here. So once price had a shift of structure, I was like, okay, price is starting to go bullish from this area. So when I first started, I would have had major FOMO. I would have been like, wow, the trade is way gone from my area of interest. Like, I would have tried to chase the trade, but throughout my time trading, I figured out, and what they really say, patience pay, is really the truth. So after we had a shift of structure, I waited for the pullback, which the pullback is this right here. So I waited for this pullback, and then after the pullback, I waited for a rejection candlestick. So if you could see on the 1 hour, we had the pullback, and then we had this doji rejection candlestick. I would have loved it if it was rejecting from the EMA, but the EMA is only an added confluence. It doesn't mean anything to me at the end of the day, right? If it's above it, then that's a added grade, added percentage towards my confluence. So once I saw this doji rejection, and then I went to the 30 minutes and I saw this bullish engulfing candlestick, I was like, okay, I'm in. I'm buying this all day long. So I set my risk to reward tool where I entered. I set my stop loss under my area of interest, which ideally the safest bet would be to put my stop loss under all these wicks right here. But I decided to put it under my area of resistance because anything above here is used as support. Anything under here is used as resistance. So price shouldn't have came all the way down here. Now let's go ahead and see how that played out. So if you could see, price almost came down and hit my stop loss. I wasn't really nervous because I really liked this area of support and resistance. It was a very strong area, and there was nothing that really told my trade that it was no longer valid. So I continue to stick to my plan and continue to hold through this time. So let's continue to see how that plays out. So you could see we had another rejection from this area of interest, and then price came back down. I still wasn't worried. And then you could see we had a huge bullish engulfing candlestick, engulfing all these previous candlesticks. Once I saw that, I was like, okay, price from here should continue going to the upside. So once price started going to the upside, I found this zone right here. I found this area. If you could see, we have resistance, 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 support, resistance. So I was anticipating price to reject from the zone, maybe do something like this, and then continue going to the upside and continue doing something like that. So I continue to hold. The trade still looked very good, very valid. So let's continue to see how it plays. So you could see price did reject from the zone. And as a matter of fact, it rejected from the zone multiple times. It rejected the zone 3 times. Went back into, some drawdown. Was still not super concerned. So I entered this position on a Monday, right? And for a very long time, it was messing around this area. So then one thing that I needed a price to do was break this zone. I needed price to break this zone to let me know and confirm to me that, hey, price is going to continue going to the upside from here. So I continue to hold. And if you could see, it rejected it another time, but finally ended up breaking past it. Now, once price was here, I was anticipating something like this to continue going to the upside. So during this time, it was around Thursday, close to end of the week, right? I don't typically trade Fridays or enter position Fridays. Since I was already in this position since Monday, I was gonna go ahead and hold. So once price broke out of this area, I was like, okay, we should continue going to the upside. Price, for whatever reason, should not come back down, back into this area right here. So if I continue to play it, that's exactly what price did. Right now, I was trying something new in my strategy, which, since this was around Thursday London session, so towards the end of the week, I didn't want to be holding this position for so long and then have it reach this area and then from there continue, and then from here just go back down and completely stop me out. So I typically never move my stop loss to break even or any of that sense. I typically just commit to the trade and let it play out for what the trade is. So I did do one mistake. I wouldn't really consider it a mistake. It was just more of a trial and error. For this trade, something that I wanted to see how it would work out. And I'll break that down a little bit more right now. So if I continue to play, price went and hit my take profit to the T. Now, why did I set my take profit right here? So I always set my take profit under the previous high, right? Because from here, it could be used as resistance to then continue it going to the upside. So in theory, if you're buying with the trend, you do anticipate it, or it would make sense for price to break this high right here, and then continue doing something like this. But the safest bet would be to set your take profit under this previous structure point, because it could have a reaction, which, as you could see, price clearly had a reaction from the zone. And this is where current price is as of today of me filming this video. Now, I said earlier I did do one mistake. And like I said, it wasn't really a mistake. It was more trial and error for me and my strategy. See if I wanted to add something onto my strategy. And I'll go ahead and share that with you guys. So once price was hanging out above this area, I moved my stop loss under this structure point. I moved my stop loss under the structure point because it was towards the end of the week. And I didn't want price to just completely come and take me out on my stop loss. And my thought process was that if price came back down to this zone, there was an issue with the trade. To me, price shouldn't have broken past this zone right here. It should have rejected from here and done something like this. It should have came, rejected, and then continued to the upside. I was not anticipating price to break down and do something like this, especially towards the end of the week. So to me, if price did that, to me, it was a huge red flag. So that's why I moved my stop loss under that structure point. And it was a trial, right? It was a trial. And if you, as you can see, price completely came down, hit my stop loss. And then from there, it decided to have the push to the upside and completely hit my take profit. So that was my trade setup on AUD CHF. As you can see, it was a beautiful 102.3 RR on this trade. I'll put my MetaTrader screenshot up on the screen right now so you guys can see what I closed out. Like I said, I didn't hit my full TP. It hit my stop loss around this zone because of what I mentioned to you guys, which I'm not gonna lie, it didn't really bother me. It didn't really bother me because I've been trading for a while now, so I know there's going to be endless opportunities in the market. What mattered to me and why I was still happy on this trade was because my analysis was correct overall. That's all I care about. Yes, a lot of people look on the dollar amount, look at what they could make or what they could have made. To me, I care that my analysis was correct because that gives me more confidence in my strategy and taking the next trade setup. So if you guys enjoyed my breakdown, I'm not too sure how long this video is. I know I could be kind of quick, and I know the way I analyze things or the way I speak is not the best. I'm not used to filming and talking and breaking down things. Every time I analyze this, it's all in my head, and I never have to share with nobody or share with the camera, which this is also a good thing. It's also going to improve my speech and how I talk and how I break down things. And I know as time goes moving forward, I will just get better at this. So if you guys enjoyed the video, please leave a like, comment, and then subscribe, right? And stay tuned for the next video. Like I said, I'm going to be planning to do 1 to 2 videos every 2 weeks. That's what I'm aiming for. All types of videos, like I said, lifestyle, more setups, tips, things that help me in trading and things in that case, right? So yeah, like I said, make sure you hit that like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.